I love the grind. And just too much moisture.
Yeah, between the Ganga moisture and the construction dust, boy, it's tough there on the lungs.
Yeah, it's hard, especially on that. I live over by like Rasamui Takun, so it's easy.
Yeah.
But being over in the campus area,
yeah,
and like that fog, it's like called the death. In case you started calling it like fog of death, because you breathe it in too much, it just destroys your lungs.
Right. That's why the locals wear the.
Learn from them. You just have to.
Yeah, right. You don't breathe it. Let's see. What do we see?
I think it's crazy. Jelly on the way. Jelly's like weird.
Oop.
I have to say that all these years Rachel are talking about the play, it was really amazing. It was totally flooring, that play.
He messaged me just to tell me that. Like, I saw the play. It was amazing.
Did I send you the link to the play? Oh, I have to send you the link.
It just doesn't, I don't think you can possibly do it when you see it in person, like.
Yeah, no, it's nothing like, the energy of the audience and the actors is, and what I was sending you is last year's version. This year is even better.
Dr. Mark's funny when he came out at the end and started dancing.
Right.
It's like, that was the coolest part of the whole play. I was like, oh,
Yeah, right.
this part.
He starts moving his legs. I want to sing something about Lord Chaitanya, but I don't know all those bhajans all the way through. So I'll just, yeah, we can do that. Okay. Jaya Jaya Sri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda.
Jaya Jaya Sri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda.
Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda.
Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda.
Jaya Jaya Sri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda. Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Rama, Jayo Vishwapar Paramhamsa Kalibra Jagatachashto Tarashata Sri Mother's Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Jai. Sri Chaitanya Bhagavat Ki Jai, Nitai Gaur Premanandi. All glory is to the assembled devotees. All glory is to the assembled devotees. All glory is to the assembled devotees. All glory is to Sri Guru and Gauranga. Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Nityananda Sahodito Gaudadaye Prashpanto Chitra Shando Tamo Nido. I offer my respectful obeisances unto Sri Krishna Chaitanya Nityananda Prabhu, who are like the sun and the moon. They have arisen simultaneously on the horizon of Gauda to dissipate the darkness of ignorance, and thus wonderfully bestowed benediction upon all. So this is one of the two translations that I know of in ISKCON of Sri Chaitanya Bhagavat. One is done by drawing a blank. I'm still blanking out here. Bhanu Maharaj. And another is done by another godbrother, Sarvabhavana Prabhu, who, like Bhakti True Maharaj, is a Bengali, Western educated. So he's fluent in Bengali and English. And this is Sri Chaitanya Bhagavat, which is more like when you read CC, Kaviraj Goswami, sometimes he says, I will not discuss more about this because Srila Vrindavan Das Thakur has elaborately described these early pastimes in his Sri Chaitanya Bhagavat. So, and this is, it's not verse for verse, but it's kind of like it's everything but. And I'm just going to look at the Adi Kanda, which means the first section, chapter 2, the appearance of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So I'll just read it. It's just a straight translation of the verses. And then whenever something that I'm reading kind of connects to what I experienced in Mayapur, then I'll just share some Mayapur experiences. So, this came back from the Dobie. It wasn't mine. The nose, a handkerchief, but I just nobody claimed it, so I'm using somebody else's handkerchief, which was washed by the Dobie. You know what a Dobie is? It's a washerman. It's a guy that washes your clothes every day for a price. Okay. Why did I mention that? I don't know. Who knows? Full disclosure, we're going to be completely transparent. Yeah, me too. I just started wondering. Maybe it's part of the jet lag. You know, you just start saying more than you have to.
I think it might be old age.
Okay. I won't go into why I kept it. It's better than the old one I had. Okay, there it is. Okay, Adi Kanda, Sri Chaitanya Bhagavat, Srila Vrindavan Das Thakur, who is called the Vyas of Chaitanya Leela, and chapter 2, the appearance of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. All glories to the beatific Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So Sarvabhavana used a rather like a Christian term, blessed, beatific Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who was Sri Jagannath Mishra's son and the supreme Lord of all. All glory is to Lord Chaitanya, the life and soul of Sri Nityananda Prabhu and Sri Gadadhar Pandit. All glories to the shelter of Sri Advaita Acharya and the unlimited devotees. So he's offering respects to the Panchatattva here. All glories to Lord Sri Gauranga and his associates. One receives loving devotion to the Supreme Lord simply by hearing transcendental topics about Lord Chaitanya Wow. Just by hearing the topics, you get love of God. Repeatedly, I offer my obeisances at the Lord's lotus feet and at the lotus feet of all his associates, praying that the pastimes of the Lord may appear upon my tongue. So this is what bona fide acharyas do before they glorify, they offer obeisances to the subject and the Lord and their preceptors, because they know they're simply servants and they need their mercy to properly glorify. Okay, upon my tongue. All glories, to Lord Chaitanya, the ocean of compassion. And all glories, to Lord Nityananda, the embodiment of loving devotional service, the ocean of compassion. So yeah, Mayapur is called Audarya Dham, the abode of compassion. Oh, Prabhu is live and in person, not from the comfort of his own home. He's here. Thank you.
Because I didn't find the podcast, so.
Oh, you couldn't find it?
Forced to come.
Oh, what happened? It doesn't immediately post? She'll show you. There you go. Yeah, when I got to Mayapur, I hadn't been there in 25 years. I went in 78 for the first time to India, which in those days you went to Vrindavan first, then Mayapur. But and so I hadn't been there in 25 years. So when I went in 2003, I was just blown away, by how it had developed, Prabhupada's Samadhi, and then the gardens were still in. They hadn't started constructing COEP yet. So those gardens that Bhavananda who put in with the fountains, they were still there. That used to parallel chakra. Now it's all the TOEP. So, that I found that I was just weeping a lot.
Procedure when you first get to Mayapur.
Yeah, I just and so I said to Janani Vas, I said, what is this? Nobody hit me in the face or nobody said anything especially touching. I'm just walking around here 24 hours a day crying. And he looked at me knowingly, because he'd been there, since the 70s. And he and his brother had been there since the early 70s, as the pujaris for the deities. So he looked at me and said, welcome home, Suresvara. Welcome home. Now you're really home. You get it. You're getting the mercy of Lord Chaitanya, the abode of compassion. The spiritual truth of the brothers, Lord Chaitanya and Lord Nityananda, as both the Supreme Lord and as servitors of the Supreme, is incomprehensible. How are they God and the servants of God at the same time? Yet, by their causeless mercy, their absolute identities are revealed. So they can, if they want, make themselves known. Lord Brahma was enlightened about the absolute truth by Lord Krishna's mercy. Right? First verse of the Bhagavatam. Tene Brahma Hruda. Srimad Bhagavatam and all Vedic scriptures describe this. The Srimad Bhagavatam states, quote, may the Lord, who in the beginning of creation amplified the potent knowledge of Lord Brahma from within his heart, and thus inspired him with the full knowledge of creation and of his own supreme self, and who appeared to be generated from the mouth of Brahma, he be pleased with me. Unquote. In the beginning, Lord Brahma did not have the power to see anything, although he had been born upon a lotus from the Lord's navel. So now this is Chaturshloki, how Brahma created. However, when he completely surrendered himself to the Supreme Lord, the Lord, by his causeless mercy, again, emphasis on the causeless kindness of Krishna, appeared before him This mercy enlightened Lord Brahma with absolute knowledge of the Supreme Lord, the origin of all incarnations. Therefore, thereafter, spontaneous pure glorification of the Lord sprang from Brahma's mouth, which we know as what? That we sing 2 verses every morning. Yeah, and boy, as Kirtaneshwar can attest, you know, the more time passed, the more crowded it got with pilgrims, because as you approach Gaur Purnima, it just gets more and more packed.
Crazy at the end. I couldn't even go to the temple. Oh, you remember I saw you outside. I was just leaving.
Yeah, yeah. And I would stand with Ramaswara Prabhu and Satyanarayan Prabhu. The only way I could go was we'd stand on the platform where Prabhupada's, Vyasasana is, a little above the crowd. And then when, the curtain finally opens, like, okay, we have Ram Gopal opens the curtains here, but when the curtains open in Mayapur, it's like, it's like the universal sound of creation. It's just like madness, and all the ladies are uluing, yodeling, or transcendental yodeling.
You really get used to that, you really actually, first it's kind of bizarre and shocking, but then after a while,
Yeah.
I like it.
This is Gauda Desh. This is Bengali Vaishnavas. Yeah. Yeah. So then, Hare Krishna. Okay. Without Lord Krishna's causeless mercy, it is impossible to know the truth about his incarnations. His supra means above, supra-mundane pastimes are inconceivable and inaccessible. Lord Brahma has described in the Bhagavad Purana 10:14-21. So that's the chapter that Prabhupada didn't get to translate. He just 10:14. He stopped with 10:13. So in 10:14, prayers of Lord Brahma, 21. Here's the translation by Sarvabhavana. Quote, O Lord of the universe, O Supreme Person, O Supreme Soul, O Lord of the mystics, how marvelous you are! Who within the 3 worlds can know when, where, why, and how you expand your internal potency, yoga maya, and perform your transcendental pastimes? Who can fathom the reason for the descent of Lord Krishna to this world? Now, who is that? Brahma or Vrindavan Das Thakur? Oh, no, this is Brahma. No, this is Vrindavan Das Thakur. Okay. Therefore, I can only submit the conclusions of Bhagavad Gita and Bhagavad Purana as reasons for his appearance. And then Vrindavan Das says in the Bhagavad Gita 4:7 and 8, quote, whenever and wherever there is a decline in religious practice of descendant of Bharat and a predominant rise of irreligion at that time, I descend myself in order to deliver the pious and annihilate the miscreants, as well as to reestablish the principles of religion. I advent myself yuga after yuga, yuga. So when I was in the dramas this year, we did a redo of Age of Kali with better costumes and some better dance, more tighter dance routines. And so I was in the sound booth as the voice of Dharma. But then they did another play too. It was 2025 rendition of the appearance of Vamana. And I remember being in this play in 2008. But in that year, Bhakti Marg Swami could not come to direct because on one of his walks, he was in Guyana, he stepped. Oh, by the way, I saw Sachi, Mother Sandamani. I saw Sachi from Guyana, remember our old Pujari, big lady. Yeah. She was wearing white and she was living in Mayapur. But she had to go, she was just about to go back to do some visa thing. Anyway. So that in that year, Bhakti Marg Swami, one of his famous walks, he was walking on a beach because Guyana is on the ocean. Yeah, South America. So he stepped on a fish that pierced his foot, and it got infected, and he couldn't get the proper medical treatment, so that he had to fly. They had to fly him to Toronto to go to the UT hospital, and he was just laid up. He couldn't come to Mayapur. So his disciple, Nitai Priya, who was an actress, actually a professional actress, she had to direct the play. And I just remember playing a couple of bit parts, one as a demigod and one as a demon. And so it was kind of a conflicted rehearsals. But then I was wondering how has Bhakti Marg Swami upgraded this play? Because that's what he does. He keeps improving the plays over the years. So that, my God, this play was just amazing. It was the same cast that he used for The Age of Kali, those South African people. Yeah, the amazing actors. But then the guy that played Kali, Paramakarana, he's from Peru. He just moved to Spain, and he played, Kali in The Age of Kali. He played Kashyapa. So Kashyapa's wife was Diti, and she was played Aditi. Aditi was played by another Spanish lady, Mahima something. And both Mahima and Paramakarana, playing Kashyapa and Aditi, they're both professional ballet dancers. So Bhakti Marg Swami took full advantage of their talents and just had them just enacting the most amazing scenes through dance. And especially the way they did Kashyapa and Aditi conceiving Vamandev. Wow, it was so, it was like transcendental. Talk about the Immaculate Conception, in Christianity. This was like, you weren't there, did you?
I didn't see that one. I wanted to go, but I was too overwhelmed with different things to do.
Yeah, it was, right. But wow, it was so good. The way they did it, the way their gestures and their dance, and then all of a sudden Vaman appeared. And Vaman, in the Shastra, Vaman's a little golden boy, right? And he's got a parasol. Vaman, the little dwarf Brahman. So this was the guy in the Age of Kali play who played Greed. Yeah, that kind of slippery, slidey guy. Well, now he's playing an incarnation of God. And he's not golden. He's kind of, he's not black, but he's kind of.
Vaman was black when he was born.
Was he?
And he turned gold.
Oh, well, that's how. Yeah, then it works. But he wasn't black. He was just kind of a coffee with cream color. Swarthy. Well, it's swarthy. Like when Sirhan blew away RFK in 1968, they referred to Sirhan as a fellow swarthy complexion. I always associate that with Sirhan, so I don't like that word, but he was just like a Beyonce color, Beyonce?
No.
Yeah. Well, she won the Grammy, so I had to. Okay. For Cowboy Carter. Okay. We're doing a Chaitanya Bhagavat, sorry. Not that. Anyway, so yeah, and so this was more in keeping, because when he played Greed in that play, because they all played demoniac qualities, he was playing a thief, the way he was doing that, and now it's like more. They're actually, because they're just very sweet devotees, all these people. And so now he's playing a divine character and saying, oh, okay, this is more like how you really are, because I got to know them, as people, as devotees in Mayapur. Okay, so why did I bring that up? Yeah, because, when you're in a play about some pastime in the Shastra, and then you read the Shastra, you read the pastime again in the Shastra, you always see read the Shastra through the experience of being in the play, which really brings to life, the characters that you read in the book. I mean, unless you're some kind of amazing person who can just, fill out the characters in multi-dimensions in your mind, I can't necessarily do that. So then, you're always actually experiencing the Leela through the drama. Yeah, it's quite a thing. And I told Bhakti Marg Swami, he said, that's why I do drama. So Shastra comes to life. And, he retired from the GBC. They didn't want him to. But he did, because look, I can do more for this movement doing drama. So Shastra comes to life than I can as a GBC, because I'm no manager anyway, as you well know. Okay. Therefore, Lord Brahma and the demigods humbly request the Lord to appear, protect the pious, and destroy the demons, in order to reestablish the religious process of the particular age. The Supreme Lord descends upon the earth with his eternal associates. The religion for the present age, and now we start getting a hint of the Lord's incarnation. Well, of course, Lord Chaitanya is avatari. He's the source of all the avatars. He's not just simply an incarnation. The religion for the present Kali Yuga is the congregational chanting of the Lord's holy name, and in order to propagate this religious process, Lord Chaitanya has appeared as the son of Shachimata. It is confirmed in the Srimad Bhagavatam that the Supreme Absolute Truth, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, incarnates solely to propagate the congregational chanting of Krishna's holy name. And then Vrindavan Das gives a reference for that. These are well-known verses. In the Srimad Bhagavatam 11, 5, 31, and 32, Son, O King Nimi. Now, of course, you're going to know these verses by other translations, because there's different ways to translate these verses. So this is one way that Sarvabhavana did it. Quote, O King Nimi, devotees always offer prayers to the Supreme Lord Hari, but now I will explain how the devotees in the Kali Yuga offer the choicest prayers, accompanied by various rituals and regulations for the satisfaction of the Supreme Lord. And that's 31. So here's 11.5.32, which Prabhupada would quote a lot. In this age of Kali, okay, so Sarvabhavana just used Prabhupada's translation. So that's safe. People who are endowed with sufficient intelligence will worship the Lord, who is accompanied by his associates, servants, weapons, and confidential associates by the performance of Sankirtan Yagya. Anybody know the Sanskrit? Krishna Varnam. You know? Su Medasa, very intelligent, right? In this age of Kali, what is it? I forget how the translation goes now. People who are endowed with sufficient brain substance will worship the Supreme Lord, who is accompanied by his associates, servants, I forget, and constant weapons. Yeah, and the weapon is not guns; it's the holy name. By performance to destroy the demoniac mentality. Yes. Oh, here it is. Okay. The Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Chaitanya, is propagating the essence of all religion for the age of Kali, the congregational chanting of Lord Hari's holy name, accompanied by his associates. The Lord has appeared in Kali Yuga simply to establish the religious practice of congregational chanting. Vrindavan Das continues, according to the Lord's desire, his eternal associates appeared before him, taking birth in human society. Anantashesh, Shiva, Brahma, the sages, and other associates of the Lord all took birth as highly elevated, pure Vaishnava devotees, known as Bhagavats. Lord Chaitanya, Krishna, knew everyone's position and identity. Most of them took birth in Navadvip, yet some were born in Chattogram, Radhadesh, that's Nityananda, or Srihat, and still others in Orissa. All these associates appeared in different places, but everyone met in Navadvip by the arrangement of the Lord. Did you get to go to Ekachakra?
Not this time, I went last time.
Yeah.
I was gonna go and I had this trip and then I realized that it was a Bengali curriculum and I thought, wow.
Oh, you won't, no
I won't
translation?
be able to,
Yeah.
understand anything. So I thought, I'll just stay and watch the Abhishek, which was a blessing because somehow they let you right. I sat next to John Evas right in front of it. I don't know why they.
Oh, wow.
They just like, it's like Lord Gita just cued me in. I walked in and they said,
You were up there.
yeah, I sat right
Wow.
next to Johnny Evas.
Wow.
It was like a Krishna's mercy.
There you go. It's Krishna's mercy. That's what Vrindavan Das keeps saying, eh? Srivas Pandit, Sri Ram Pandit, and Sri Chandrasekhar are personalities worshipped in all three worlds. Sri Murari Gupta can cure the disease of material entanglement. Vaishnavas of this caliber appeared in Srihat, Pundarik Vidyanidhi, the foremost Vaishnav devotee, Chaitanya Malam, who was very dear to Lord Chaitanya, and Vasudev Dutt. All appeared in Chattagram, and Haridas Thakur appeared in Bhutan. This is all Bangladesh, huh? Yeah. The village Ekachakra is in the Radhadesh district of Bengal. Yeah. It's also a long way. It's about a 4-hour bus ride.
6 hours.
Yeah, it's long. The Supreme Lord Nityananda made his appearance there. Lord Nityananda is factually the supreme father of all living entities, but to show mercy upon Hadai Pandit, a Brahmin and pure devotee, he took birth as his son. Lord Nityananda is an ocean of mercy, the shelter of all Vaishnav devotees and the giver of devotion. He appeared in the district of Radhadesh. Expressing their happiness at the appearance of Lord Nityananda, the demigods made joyous sounds and showered flowers. All this was performed unseen by ordinary mundane eyes. From the time of Nityananda's appearance, the Radhadesh district grew increasingly prosperous day by day. Sri Paramananda Puri, who was Lord Chaitanya's close associate in Nilachala, Puri, appeared in Trihut in Mithila, Bihar. All right, so we're approaching Lord Chaitanya's appearance finally. When the lands on the banks of Mother Ganga are all places of pilgrimage, why did the Vaishnav devotees appear in impious lands? Chaitanya himself descended on the banks of Mother Ganga, so why did his eternal associates appear in faraway places? In their travels, the Pandavas avoided countries devoid of the sound of the holy name of the Lord and the waters of Mother Ganga. Lord Chaitanya, so he posed that question. Let's see if he's answering it right away. Lord Krishna Chaitanya, being compassionate on the unfortunate souls, yeah, there you go. He appears for the most fallen. Or is Bhakti Vidyapurna or Bhakti, what's his name? No, Bhakti Purushottam. Bhakti Purushottam, is that it? Yeah, the Bengali sannyasi. Yeah, Purushottam. He says, Lord Chaitanya appears to give super mercy to the super fallen. The more fallen you are, that means you qualify. Lord Krishna Chaitanya, being compassionate on the unfortunate souls in those lands, arranged for the pure Vaishnav devotees to appear there. His own appearance was required to redeem the material world. In order to accomplish this, he arranged for his pure devotees to take birth in impious lands and in impious families. So that's a little bit of an explanation of why, in the early days at least, Prabhupada was the people who came to 26 Second Avenue to hear from Swamiji. And he said this right up through, 68 and because they were helping Prabhupada, jumpstart the Hare Krishna movement. So Prabhupada would say, you must be associates of Lord Chaitanya. You must be to of all the millions of people, you're coming to hear me in this little place, 26 Second Avenue. He said it to Mukunda Maharaj and Jayapataka later. And
Twice.
yeah, especially because of what he's been doing in Mayapur. And Satrup Maharaj, Brahmananda, all these. Yeah, and so let's see. Where am I? Whenever and in whichever family the pure Vaishnava devotee appears, he is able to purify everyone there by his pure spiritual potency. The birthplace of a pure Vaishnava becomes a place of pilgrimage. Therefore, the Supreme Lord Chaitanya arranged that his associates take birth in many different places. Yeah. Mukunda Maharaj, he was born in Portland, I think. Yeah. But he came all the way to seek his fortune in New York City because he was a musician. Although they were all born in different places, they met as if, there's the operative word there, as if by accident in Navdvip. Lord Chaitanya's birthplace was Navdvip. Hence, Navdvip was the meeting place of all the devotees. So starting March 1st, they started Navdvip Mandal Parikram. And I didn't go because I had a lot to wrap up. And also it was peaceful in the temple when everybody was gone.
Yeah, that's why I got peaceful right when I left. The day I left, I was noticing it's like
Normal.
out a little bit.
Yeah, it was, you could exhale and you didn't get crushed by the crowds and you didn't have to stand in some funny place to see the deities.
And there was no oxygen around the mountain temple. And I couldn't even be in there.
Yeah, you couldn't, yeah. So anyway, it was like a nice, peaceful denouement, just a last part of the drama of being in Mayapur. Lord Chaitanya's birthplace was Navdvip, specifically Antardvip. Yeah, Yogpit. Did you go to Yogpit?
No, you're right.
Yeah, Antar, within, there's 9 islands. Dvip means island and Antar is the. Did you ever make it to Yogpit?
I did. I gave a class there with the ISKCON Youth Forum.
Oh, sweet.
They had me because I greeted preachers in Kalyani, and so the youth forum director's there. And I become friends with him, and so then he asked me to give a class to all these new people, and we went from Bikram to Yoga Pete, and I gave a class.
Okay.
That's not only visit. Otherwise, I was mostly just studying.
Yeah.
I made it there. We did the MI Parikram.
Yeah, on the weekends.
That was nice.
Yeah. Oh, the youth, it was sweet. I mean, Radhe Shyam, I guess he's the national director, but then they have a local Mayapur director too.
Local Bengali.
Yeah, I was approached too, but I had too much to do. What to do? Okay.
Chaitanya Nitai.
That's his name? Let's see. Yeah, I said, well, Prabhu, these are Bengalis. I don't speak Bengali. No, they're all educated. They speak English. English medium. Navdvip. Hence, Navdvip was the meeting place of all the devotees. The glories of Navdvip cannot be compared to any other place in the world. Knowing of Lord Chaitanya's descent in Navdvip, providence, God, Lord Chaitanya is providence, but destiny, to speak about it in the abstract. Providence made it a prosperous and flourishing town to receive the Lord. Yeah, Lord Chaitanya's time, Navdvip was the seat of learning, like Benares. Yeah. So who was capable of describing Navdvip's opulence? Hundreds of thousands crowded to bathe on the banks of the Ganga. So when I first went to Mayapur in 78, the course of the Ganga was different. Like right now, it's right there. Right? It's right there. But in 78, when I went, we had to go far. We had to go ways down near Boat Gut. It was the way it is now. It changed course. Because when I went in 78, it was a full moon, just like when Mahaprabhu appeared in 1486. Christian calendar. It was a full moon, so it was a big deal. It was a full moon eclipse.
Which is this time in America. Full moon eclipse on Gopani.
This Gopani?
Yeah.
It's coming up. Oh, it will be, huh?
Yeah, but we don't see the full part of it. It's in the United States.
Yeah, in India they will. Okay, yeah, we got it.
Mid-US, like places in like the middle section of the US, like
Midwest or whatever.
Midwest, but also like even middle California.
Oh. So we were running to the Ganga in 78, branded because it was an eclipse, right? So we were carrying burning logs. It's like because we read we heard from Prabhupada, that CC or Chaitanya Bhagavat wasn't out yet, that they were burning, that they would take sticks, and run and use as torches. So we were all running. I remember this. It was like wild. Hundreds of devotees. I mean, it wasn't like now, it was just ISKCON people, and mostly Americans, Westerners, running to the Ganga. Haribo! Haribo! And then getting to the Ganga, going in the Ganga, to chant Hare Krishna, and then, I don't know I guess we just threw the sticks in the water or something. I forget what we did. And we were just chanting there, at night in the Ganga. Haribo! This is so wild. Confirmed by Subi. Who is capable? Let's see. What's that?
Yeah.
The new bird?
Sounds like a grill.
Oh,
Really.
yeah, right. Who is capable of describing Navadvip's opulence? Hundreds of thousands crowded to bathe on the banks of the Ganga. Yeah, we were in the Ganga, on the banks, it says. Okay, so they went in, at the time of the eclipse. By Goddess Saraswati's grace, the residents of Navadvip of all different ages were learned exponents of the scriptures. Yeah, it wasn't just a place where you go to buy, stuff across the Ganga. It was a, seat of learning. The residents of Navadvip of all different ages were learned exponents of the scriptures. The people were proud of their material knowledge. Even young boys argued logic with senior scholars. Students came from different parts of the country to study in Navadvip, because in Navadvip they could get a high training and taste in scholastics. The number of students in Navadvip was incalculable, and the exact count of teachers was undetermined. Vrindavan is talking in these higher dimensional ways. The residents were content, blessed by the favorable glances of Rama, Lakshmi, the goddess of fortune, but they wasted their time spending money for sense pleasures, so they were karmakandis. Yeah. And a lot of caste Brahmins, a lot of karmakandis. This is why Lord Chaitanya appeared. When he was after his initiation, he was transformed from Nimai Pandit, the wrangling scholar, to a pure love of God. Then he came to save all those people, Mayavadis and caste Brahmins and karmakandis. As they had grown prouder and more materialistic, the people's taste for devotional service to the Supreme Lord had decreased alarmingly, and the beginning of Kali Yuga had ushered in immoral activities. Yeah, so it was already. So let's see. So Lord Chaitanya appeared. Yeah, so 4,500 years in the Kali Yuga. Like, you got the math right there. Yeah, because Krishna appeared, Krishna left Kali Yuga, came in full force. And then Lord Chaitanya didn't appear, for, what? I'm losing my math. How many since, 5,000 years after Lord Krishna came? Yeah, 5,000 years, right? Or 4,500 years. Lord Chaitanya appeared. So Kali was already making inroads. Immoral activities, it says. The only religious or devotional activities they knew were invocations to the demigods. So a lot of demigod worship and demigoddesses. Yeah, to this day in Bengal, they're more about Durga than they are about Mahaprabhu, because everybody wants material, prosperity. Especially, here we go. Especially Durga Devi, and prayers for temporary material benedictions. Some arrogantly worshipped Manasa, the goddess of snakes. Others wasted I wonder what you get from her, goddess of snakes. Others wasted huge amounts of wealth worshipping dolls. So it sounds like he's saying it was like idol worship. They squandered large sums on the marriages of their sons. Well, that's still going on. Yeah, one of the things, I was staying at a guest house called Isodhyan, and 95% of the guests were Indian. And especially in the weekends, they'd come up. And they all, were dressed to the nines, because they were there. A lot of them were there to get married. And a lot of them were there to show off their finery. These were the hoity-toity, or the wealthy from Kolkata. And they were all there with their phones taking movies of themselves. They were the star of their own movie. And it was immediately, it was just funny. As soon as the designated photographer or videographer would whip out her cell phone, then whoever was the lady who was the star of the movie, she immediately started dancing like some Bollywood person, doing all these years in the Bollywood. And then she started just, with her heavily made up and just like this. And then they were following her around, it's like they were all doing a little Bollywood movie. Well, but that's okay, because they'd come to Lord Chaitanya's place and they knew, because after all, they are from Bengal, most of them. And they wanted to go take blessings with Mahaprabhu. So they were all in the temple too. But it was funny. Let's see. Worshipping dolls, even the supposedly knowledgeable high priests, the Bhattacharyas, that's a real Bengali name to this day. Chakravarti, big Bengali name. And Mishras did not know the purpose of the scriptures. Krishna says, what does he say in the Gita? The flowery language of the Vedas. Yeah, they don't know. They're bewildered by the flowery language, which makes the material world seem like a nice place you can really enjoy here. Right? So they're looking for material boons. Though they taught the scriptures, these are the priests now, their activities were contrary to scriptural injunctions. So along with their students, they drowned in the deluge of iniquity. You know what iniquity is?
Simple activity.
Yes. We have this expression in English, den of iniquity, like a bar, right?
And worse.
Yeah, right. Yes, the houses of ill repute. All right. So this is the priests. Yeah. Like Cardinal Danielou. Remember him? Prabhupada debated Cardinal Danielou in 1973. And soon afterwards, he was found dead of a heart attack outside the house of a prostitute. This is the cardinal.
I heard that he was going to do some type of charitable work for it. That was like, he was actually going to do some charitable work for like prostitutes, like that type of thing.
Oh, yeah.
Already. he was like into like,
He wasn't seeing the prostitute.
yeah, I heard that before. And I just, because I did a little research on that. I was interested in doing some things with Catholics.
Uh-huh.
And then what I heard was that he was going to, not like see her, but he was actually like giving her like
Okay.
charity, you know. And
Mhm.
he was into like doing that type of thing. He was very personal with everybody who came to church.
Yeah, he was big. He was big in the church. He was the Vatican's liaison with all the communists, because in the 70s, when François Mitterrand was the president, they were socialist president, and there was a lot of, remember Danny the Red? Anyway, he was a big communist protester in France. So he was making inroads, getting some of these disenfranchised youth back more into God consciousness, because communism is godless. So yeah, he was. But anyway, it's funny, his conversations with Prabhupada. Prabhupada saw it right where he was at, in terms of intoxication and meat eating, and I thought illicit sex, but no, Kirtaneshwar has done more. Of course, a lot of
Who knows? That could have been
Yeah.
a big cover up.
yeah, right. I mean, there are cardinals and priests that do that too, and even devotees. Hare Krishna, Kali Yuga. So, nobody was engaged in explaining the imports of congregational chanting of Lord Krishna's holy name, the religion of Kali Yuga. They spent their time simply finding faults in others. Should I just read till 9? No? Oh, because it's out? Oh, because of Prasad's ready?
Yeah, it's always, it's been, you forgot you've been gone.
Oh, yeah.
10 till 9.
Oh, okay. Well, I was thinking, how are you going to ask questions to a reading? So, anyway. Okay, tomorrow we'll hear a more proper Gorpanim class, and then in the evening we'll have a slideshow about the golden avatar. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.